Billies, wake up. Gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Voice so happy and not place so calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is a show my people. Billies our hopes of to needless reason. Nobody feel about is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a summation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WB. And all the things that we feel happen like dark and blue skies. I don't feel that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Billies, yeah. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Another day is here. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Voice so happy and not place so calling. WB. Get up, make every day count up. Wasted people, do your part, play a role, get where you need to. You can tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling is a show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WB. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Another day is here. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Voice our opinion and place our calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is a show my people. Billies our hopes so to needless reason. Nobody feel about is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a summation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WB. And all the things that we feel happen like dark and blue skies. I don't feel that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Billies, yeah. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Another day is here. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Voice our opinion and place so calling. WB.
Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Billies Morning Vibes talk show for this morning, Friday, October 4th, 2024, broadcasting from 3304 Amandala Drive, formerly Partridge Street, sweet Southside Belize City. I'm Sister YaYa Marin Coleman, sitting in for Brother Noor Mohammed this morning. And it's Friday! So yeah, then people from social media, they say instead I say Friday, it's a Friday, and usually they drink something will make me happy. It's like water. It's Friday morning, and I'm lucky in from 6:30 to 9 here for the people conversation behind the zinc fence, Southside Belize City. So I hope when I wake up and stretch and say when I give thanks, guys, when I wake up and breathe, and to have the bestest day today, even with challenges ahead of way. So, we know the usual for the loyal listeners, viewers, streamers online. We start off with the weather report by the Belize National Meteorological Service, and then we give a first news brief provided to us by XTV Newsroom under the leadership of we brilliant sister Marin. And then we're going to take a break and come back and we're going to link up. We're going to get ready for calling and talk with me this morning. So we're going on a quick break for the weather report, and then it won't be the news.
Good morning, Belize. A relatively moist and somewhat unstable conditions prevail. The 24-hour forecast for Belize and her coastal waters calls for sunny skies today with cloudy spells, and shower activity will be generally isolated today, except for inland areas where a few showers and isolated thunderstorms can be expected during the afternoon hours. Tonight, the skies will be partly cloudy, becoming cloudy at times. A few showers and isolated thunderstorms will develop over the south and some coastal areas tonight and tomorrow morning. High temperatures for today are expected to reach 90 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, to 94 inland, and 80 over the mountains. Low temperatures tonight will drop to 82 along the coast, 73 inland, and 68 in the higher elevations. The winds will blow from the east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and the sea state will be slight. A high tide will occur at 10:57 this morning, followed by a low at 4:48 in the afternoon, and then a high occurs at 10:31 tonight and a low at 5:35 a.m. The sun rose at 5:43 a.m. and will set at 5:38 p.m. The moon comes up at 7 minutes past 7 this morning and set at 6:48 in the evening. The outlook for Saturday and Saturday night is for cloudy at times, along with isolated showers and isolated thunderstorms, except for a few more inland during the afternoon and south at night. In the sargassum forecast, no significant increase in sargassum is expected over the area during the next few days. And in the tropical weather outlook, at 3 a.m., Hurricane Kirk was located about 1,010 miles east-northeast of the northern Leeward Islands. Kirk was moving to the northwest at 10 miles per hour, with maximum sustained winds of 145 miles per hour. Also, at 3 a.m., Tropical Storm Leslie was located about 645 miles west-southwest of the southernmost Cabo Verde Islands. Leslie was moving to the west at 6 miles per hour with maximum sustained wind of 60 miles per hour. And that's your morning forecast that was prepared here at the National Meteorological Service.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news. The first private radio in Belize since 1989. Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
The Ministry of Education on Thursday informed that it is working to resolve the issue with the non-payment of salaries for some teachers. This includes doing an off-cycle payment run for a total of 122 teachers who the ministry says should receive their salaries by this evening. In its press release yesterday, the ministry explained that it received a list of 99 teachers from the Belize National Teachers Union who had not been paid. According to the ministry, upon review, it found that 12 names were duplicated, leaving 87 teachers. The ministry reports that of those, 44 are included in the off-cycle payment run. Out of the remaining 43, the ministry states that 9 teachers already received their September salaries and 3 are from the secondary and tertiary level. So they are paid through another system. Another 4 are to be paid in the next payment cycle, which would be at the end of October. That leaves 27 teachers from the BNTU list, whose cases the ministry says it is committed to resolve in collaboration with school managements so that they can also get their salaries later this month. The ministry wrote that it acknowledges, quote, that the current salary processing system is antiquated and prone to delays, especially where paperwork is incomplete or submitted late. We understand the frustration that these delays have caused for the affected teachers, and we are committed to working closely with the BNTU and all stakeholders to address these challenges swiftly, end quote. They also thanked teachers for their patience and understanding. Meanwhile, the national president of the Belize National Teachers Union, Nadia Martin Callis, says she just completed a tour of schools across the country and found that many are in deplorable conditions, with the teachers having to endure the problems.
They need to visit these schools. We just finished our tour. Our teachers are working in rat-bat infested classrooms, termites. The drinking water, or the water that they're supposed to drink, is not healthy. You fill a bottle and leave it there, you see all the sediments at the bottom. Our teachers are trying their very best to educate the children of this country. But I want to encourage you to step outside of Belize City and go to the classrooms in the districts, not only in the towns, in the villages, and then you will see what the BNTU has been talking about. They suffer to educate these children, to fix these classrooms, and at the end of the month, no salary.
Prices continue to be the hot topic in the capital, and on Thursday, the only city councillor from the last administration who was elected as part of the new council of Mayor Pablo Kawich decided to speak. In an exchange with our colleagues at Plus TV, Sani Cal revealed that under former Mayor Sharon Palacio, it was agreed that 5 of her councillors would receive a 50% discount on land under the Innovable project. I don't know if I just said this word right. Innovable project. However, according to Cal, when they received their certificates, they were being charged the $100 paperwork processing fee. He says they were told the land was being gifted to them for their work and contributions. Cal says he was in disagreement with such a gift and therefore never picked up his certificate and is now making the monthly payments toward the 50% cost. He says he is unaware if any of the other councillors took the, quote, gift, unquote.
We had a meeting, and in that meeting, we decided and we passed a resolution that the council, just elected officials, will receive a 50% discount for the piece of land in Novabel.
So no one else?
No one else.
No residents, no whatever, just councillors?
Just the councillors.
Okay. Did you take up that offer?
Yes.
So you did receive a land?
Yes, I did.
How much?
Honestly, it's $100, which that's the reason why I decided to do this interview as well, because it needs to be out there. We're not hiding anything. And the way it was brought up to us that we received it at $100 was surprising.
Why?
Why? Because when we were called to go into a meeting again and to receive our certificates, with knowing that we agreed for a price of 50% discount, not $100 discount. So when we were called into the meeting, we were told that it's being a gift for us, for being, counselor for the past 3 years, for doing community service. So that's the reason why we got it for $100. Do I agree that we receive it for $100? No, I do not agree that we receive it for $100.
So you don't agree with it, so take it.
Well, my certificate, my personal certificate, it's still at the City Council. I did not receive it, I did not pick it up, and I did not sign for it, but it's still at the City Council.
Oh, so you were offered it at $100, but you didn't take it?
The certificate is there. I did not just pick it, I didn't pick it up.
Okay. Will you?
Well, I have arranged a payment plan with the council, and I will be paying the 50%.
Cal confirmed that he knows of one councillor who received multiple parcels of land, and it was the only councillor who supported the then mayor in everything she did.
Well, I know only one councillor got more than one lot. They have a councillor that didn't receive any. About that councillor that received more than one land, oh, I'm not surprised. He was the only one tolerating the way Ms. Palacio did her management at the council.
Do you believe that he should give back some of these lands, and what do you think should happen from here?
Well, I can't really answer that because, you know, it's something that needs to go through process with the council. And I hope he realizes, you know, it's not something that should happen. We have youths out there that not even have one piece of land. And for have 8, 6, 8, I don't recall the numbers they have, but man, it's sad because we have kids that really want a piece of land. They have adults right now, as we speak, don't have a piece of land. From now, for make one individual own 6 to 8 pieces of land for $100 or $500, nah.
Kyle said he decided to speak now because many residents had been calling him and asking questions after news broke of the Innovable land controversy.
When the news break out about the land issues and other stuff from the past council, I've been receiving a lot of calls, a lot of messages, you know, residents concerned about what's going on and what will happen. So I don't have anything to hide. The past council, majority of the councillors were against most of the decisions that Ms. Sharon did, and we were not quiet. And a lot of residents felt that we were fighting, which basically we were, because of the decisions and things that were being hidden from us. And we were not quiet. And that's one thing I can say. We were trying to fight for answers and we didn't get them.
Earlier this week, Prime Minister John Briceño attended the inauguration Tuesday of the first female president for Mexico, scientist Dr. Claudia Sheinbaum. The PM shared on his Facebook page that he took the opportunity to meet with the new energy minister, Luz Elena Gonzalez Escobar. He stated, quote, "Our discussion centered on energy security, the continuation of the power purchase agreement between both countries, areas of opportunity and upgrading of the energy transmission infrastructure in Belize and the southern region of Mexico." According to the PM, they also looked at the energy challenges that both countries are facing. The Belize delegation included Belize's Minister of Public Utilities, Michelle Chabet, Minister of State for Foreign Trade, Dr. Osmond Martinez, and Belize's Ambassador to Mexico, Oscar Arnold. Also present at the meeting were Mexico's Foreign Minister and CFE officials. At the last high-level meeting of the parties on energy, Belize officials had sought a commitment from CFE that the wattage of energy sold to Belize would increase. We'll await a more detailed report from the PM on whether progress was made in that regard. Agriculture CEO Servulo Baiza spoke of the change in command in our neighbor to the north.
I remember on the visit of the past president, Lopez Obrador, he had given Belize a 1-year tariff-free access into Mexico, which was, was great. Anything he said that we produce, we could get into Mexico tariff-free. That was great news, for instance, for our cattle exporters, because then that made it more profitable than to export our cattle into Mexico and open up that market also, for us. The discussions that we've been having with them, I know our Prime Minister and our Minister of Foreign Trade, even our Minister of Agriculture, has been to try to ensure that that we maintain that status. And my understanding is that the new president has given her commitment that whatever arrangements we had with the previous administration, even though it's the same party, that she has given the commitment that she will continue, that these arrangements that we have with them will continue. So that is very good news for us.
That brings us to the end of this morning's news brief. Throughout the rest of the day, you may tune into Creme Radio, and you could get Creme Radio on the Creme Radio app, local radio station, or you may tune in to XTV, Facebook page Belize, XTV Belize YouTube, and the news brief for Creme Radio will follow through at 10 o'clock this morning during the morning stew. And then there'll be a full news package at 12:30 on Creme Radio, a news brief at 3 o'clock, and the full news package at 5:15. On XTV, there'll be a full news package at 6 o'clock this evening. And earlier, I forgot to mention that the Belize Meteorological weather forecast, Belize Meteorological Service weather forecast was brought to us by forecaster Catherine Cumberbatch. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. The news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports.
Absolute work ethic.
to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes for this morning, Friday, October 4th, 2024. From behind the zinc fence, remember, you could go download XTV Belize app, Creme Radio app. We're live streaming on YouTube, XTV Belize, and on Facebook, XTV Belize. You could select on your local channels for, I don't know our number for XTV, but go to your local channel, XTV, and your local channel for Creme Radio. The phone number is 280-5848, 280-5848. I'm going to talk to Harlan Wagner, who is one of the senior technical persons, so he say, so we're going to talk about this morning. I say, second day at Koya, and I don't really have no topic in mind, but the Friday, so I say I want to be Feel Good Friday. I know by default we have challenges, but I really need some feel good news. So whatever got you in a feel good mood this morning, call and tell me about it. Remember our family conversation. So careful when you share it with. The number is 280-5848. It's Friday, so you don't know that paper day. A Mandala newspaper is out. Get it from your favorite vendor. And the paper is $1.50 Belize dollars. When I buy paper, if I buy it from one of the vendors out the roads, like the market, then I'll go to a central drugstore because I'm sure I can get to a Mandala newspaper from there. So make sure you go buy a Mandala newspaper. And do you know a Mandala, this is the, I always want to know because for the Mandala newspaper, you have the Friday issue and you have one number. So I want to know, like this is the number 3,779. So I want to know if that means that how much papers get printed. And somebody tell me yes. But it seems like it seems like a lot of paper, 3,779 from 1969. But that's what they tell me, so that's what I tell you now. And then the tag is Belize's leading newspaper. I'm going to purchase an Mandala, please. And then the Feel Good Friday. So, we're going to talk about this morning. And you don't know if you call me. Oh! Today is the 49th birthday of Tyrone, the drummer. I think so I forget you, Tyrone. I don't forget you at all. Make sure I write it down yesterday. When you call and tell me, say, that today may be your 49th birthday. So, call and hail up Tyrone for make a hail up Tyrone for your 49th birthday. If anybody know Tyrone, the drummer, please wish a happy birthday today, Friday, October 4th. And then, I don't know, usually I have one affirmation every day where I read. So make I say what my affirmation today. It says, the older I get, the more I accept that I might lose people when I decide to change for the better. That's my affirmation for today. And since I want to deal with Feel Good Friday, in the future, if it happen on Friday, I'll deal with Feel Good Friday. So, as someone may know, I get back into the country Tuesday after I got the United Black Association for Education, United Black Association for Development, Educational Foundation, UEF, the fourth pillar of Zinc Fence, the first being a Mandala newspaper, 55 years, Creme Radio, 35 years, UEF, 28 years, XTV, 21 years this year. I got some work on behalf of African descendants, racialized as black people in Belize. So this was like a love tour because it was really, really packed with love. But one of the things, and a number of things I really, really like about this trip, but one is that I get books. And this, I never think, I just didn't send anything, but actually I'm going to take a picture and send it to the MCO so that they could show it on the screen. But this book, I had this book before, and I can't find it. And I try to lend out my books to them because they're my besties. I shouldn't lend them out. But this particular book is called All About Love, New Visions by Bell Hooks. And I tell people I want the sacred text when it comes to talking about love, beyond what we know about love. And then there's this other book. It's called The Maya of Belize, Historical Chapters Since Columbus by J. Eric S. Thompson. I asked my sister for order this one from when I gone. And it really, I'll come back and tell you why that book mattered to me. And then this other book is called The Nation We Are Making, Belize, A Junior History of Belize. So I'm going to chase this, The Nation We Are Making, Belize, A Junior History of Belize, for some months now. And Harlan Wagner, the senior technical person here, he will chase it too. So when I bought the book London, I take a picture. I said, "This is the book you look for?" He want to say, "Yeah." Like he think I get the book for here at Lambert. They only have one coffee shop. If they had two of them, I get it from, but they only had one. And then one in book matter. When it comes to, since I feel good Friday, and we just come out of the month of September, and people would often, you know, say how they feel, their position on this territory we now know as Belize and our people. And one number we know what they tell with a school, formal education. Of course, we usually encourage people that the best education you could get, that the one where you give yourself, or what they call informal education. You don't have to go sit down in a no classroom for nobody instruct you. And so one of the, and it really, and recognizing that not everybody have access to books, have the ability to read, maybe struggling readers, there are other ways to get knowledge. You could listen to XTV and Crim Radio programming. Now, one way to expand your knowledge bank. You could observe what happened wrong in your community, listen to elders, listen to news from different parts of the world, vet your news sources to see if the spaces where they give you the news are known to be credible spaces. And so I'm very much focused on self-learning, that in order to make the kind of changes we need for happen that Belize, for we have one better liberty, then we as individual Belizeans have to make it one point for increase with knowledge, be open to hear different positions on an issue and respect it, and could still learn from it. And then hopefully as a collective of people, we could make informed decisions in for we best interest, because nobody now look after for we interests like we could look after for we interests. And that's why I often use the mantra, only the people and save the people. Again, the phone number is 280-5848. It's 706. We've got a break 7:30. No, please don't got me there to talk all 26? It's 6 past. All 23 minutes, 24 minutes. I would prefer not to. I would just prefer not to. I really like going on a call in and I engage, you know. The sister we want to talk about Venezuela yesterday and had to go and couldn't call back. This is your opportunity to call back now. So yes, so the intention is that, and you know, on social media you have different, morning, thank you, talk to me.
Good morning, YaYa, this is Sandra Toy.
Good morning,
well, I'm
Sister
calling
Sandra.
with, you say it's good news day, you know, something like that.
Feel good Friday. How your morning to go, Sister Sandra?
Wonderful.
Good, thanks.
And more wonderful because of the news in the international arena about the Chagos Islands. These are a set of islands in the Indian Ocean that are part of Mauritius, which is also an island archipelago located off the east coast of East Africa, off the coast of East Africa. Well, Belize, Mauritius, and Palestine have something in common. We are all countries that the colonial master has tried to use as currency to solve their problems. That is what was done with Palestine. Palestine was placed into the under the authority, the government of Great Britain, and with a document that required Great Britain to set in motion the creation of an independent, sovereign Palestinian state. That was the mandate given to Great Britain after the First World War. And then they chose to do what they wanted with it, which was to create the state of Israel eventually. It didn't begin right away. Now, the creation of the state of Israel comes right after the World War II has ended, and supposedly this grand edifice constructive to international peace, the United Nations is set in motion. So simultaneously they set that in motion, create the Decolonization Committee to give freedom to all the colonized states belonging to the great powers. At the same time they were doing that, they were creating a new colonization. And that new colonization, at the head of that list, was the creation of the State of Israel out of occupied people's land. People land. It wasn't a land without people, it was a land with people. All right, that's 1948. They come along now, and in the 1960s, as Mauritius, one of the African nations about to get independence, they tell Mauritius, if you want your independence, you have to give up sovereignty over the Chagos Islands. And Mauritius, foolishly, in order to gather the independence, they didn't really agree. What the British did then was literally move in and take over the islands. I think it was a Sunday morning, I may be wrong on that, because so much material on the matter I have covered over the years. Well, they moved in soldiers, slaughtered the people's dogs in front of them, and approximately 1,500 people were hauled onto boats. Some were taken to the Seychelles, some were taken to Mauritius, the main islands, and those people have fought, YaYa and listeners, this began in 1965 thereabouts. Mauritius got its independence in 1968, and they moved in and took over the islands between 68 and probably could set as a .72 thereabouts. These people have been fighting all these years. They've had to face prostitution, poverty, starvation, everything you can think of they have faced. Well, yesterday, the British government announced that they are giving up their claim to sovereignty over the Chagos Islands.
That's good, but why would they do that? They should have did it a long time, but that's good news.
That is it. Except that, unfortunately, and for me this is unfortunate, they are going to retain Diego Garcia as the military base operated by Great Britain and the United States, and to be given up after 99 years.
Wait, Sister Sandra.
Why you always have to have your wits around you when you are dealing with these situations.
Wait, Sister Sandra. Diego Garcia is a military base.
Military base.
Where is it located?
In the Indian Ocean.
In the Indian Ocean. How near is that to
It's part of the Chagos Islands archipelago. Belize signed. You see, why I'm so happy is, even happier is, Belize was one of the interveners in the case brought before the ICJ, asking the ICJ to give a judicial opinion on whether Great Britain had sovereign control over the Chagos Islands. And unanimously the ICJ said no.
When did that ruling come down?
In that period between 2000, the first PUP government, I think it is, or maybe a little later. The ruling came down later. The case was brought then, and we signed on. And one morning, it was a weekend. The then Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, by a Labour government, because I think Tony Blair was the one in power then, and signed some obscure, under some obscure power to prohibit these people's access and right of return, either of sovereignty or of right of return of occupation. Chinese, you know, but they never gave up. And subsequently, and what happens is the African continent the people who make up the African Union and the people who occupy the African continent never stop saying, listen, that's the last remaining colony on the African continent. You have to end it. You have to end it. Well, the conservative government started the process 2 years ago. Now they are objecting and giving all kinds of excuses why it shouldn't have happened. So then, is it that they started it then with no intention of bringing it to reality? Mm-hmm. You see? Mm-hmm. So yesterday, the news broke on in the international media. Now, they are going to, they now have the right of return. Sovereignty has been returned to Madagascar because they denied that, sorry, not Madagascar, Mauritius. They denied that Mauritius had sovereign control over these places, and Mauritius didn't stop saying what we did. Maybe we made a wrong move to get our independence, but in the end, the ruling that the ICJ gave was supported by nations, not all nations, but probably the majority of the nations. And Belize was one of them. And Belize was one of the countries that intervened in that case to get justice for these poor people. I tell you now, my heart just soared when I heard the news. Soared.
Indeed, that's a good feel-good Friday.
Because, pardon?
That's a good feel-good Friday news. But the bigger concern...
I don't know how good it feels.
The bigger concern, Sister Sandra, you're making is how important it is for leaders, negotiators, when they sit with these colonizers, European people, how sharp you have to be, especially when thinking long term, when it comes to the sovereignty of our country.
Not only Europeans, YaYa. Let's take the case of the Western Sahara, which Belize spoke out on, which Mr. Fonseca properly spoke out against on Saturday. Western Sahara, the new colonization has been undertaken by Morocco, an ex-colony, a fellow Arab country. Undertaken by them, built wall, mined the wall with 7 million mines, you hear? So when they go, that's why they can't do anything about Palestine, because the Arab hands are dirty. That's why they have the problem with Lebanon. You see, when you don't, the problem with colonization, it doesn't matter who did it and when they did it. It always operates on stripping you of your moral base. So they need you to be stripped of a moral base so they can do anything they want with you. Doesn't matter if it was the Romans and ancient Judea, it doesn't matter. It always happens the same way. And when they strip you of the moral base, when you go into the independence process, your challenge is to restore a moral fiber to yourself personally and all your people. Because it is only moral fiber that will bring you through the long haul. You don't make the long haul on a wishy-washy, prostitution, harem-scarum, robbery type approach. You don't. You win the day. You won't win it right away. These people have been fighting from 1968. Fighting. And it is, 1965 is what? 1965 is 60 years. They will complete in 2025. 60 years. But you cannot make wrong moves. You must always be morally correct and proper. You cannot run this orderly, upside down, rubber piratical states. You can't do those things. So it's not only the European, and don't tell me the Arab, Morocco learned it from the Europeans, because the Arabs were once the colonizers.
Enslavers.
The colonizers of Africa. You see, so colonization, it improved on with every generation. Every new imperial power is going to improve because we are a species that improves. We learn, we are social animals, humans are social animals because we are primates. And all social animals, I raised a whole pack of dogs and realized how much learning dogs do as a social group, copying each other, watching what the other one is doing and mimicking it. But we do it to the maximum. You see? And generally we don't copy the right thing, we copy the wrong thing. Generally. But in this case, this shows Belize. You should have stood up at the UN and made note. No quarrel. You're not going there to take up arms and shoot down your Guatemalan brother because my people come from Guatemala, man. But if you're wrong, you're wrong. You don't have no right. Where you want me to live? You don't have me to live because you don't like black people. So I need somewhere to live. And you don't have no right. You sign a treaty and you want to go back on the treaty you sign and all manner of a thing. You see? So they Belize did well by intervening in that case. And we have a right to be proud of ourselves on that matter. Because we can truly claim that we helped to bring this day about. But this day about for me is not the day I would have wanted. I would not have wanted any military agreement for 99 years. I am proposing that Belize take the path of Ireland and the Holy See, total disarmament on the planet, period. Total. We have now reached a point where you see our evolution is with a weapon in our hands. We evolved. When we started out that weapon evolution, we were using the bones, the femurs of other animals and our fellow humanoids who were murdered or died or whatever. We used their bones. So our first weapons were bones. But look at what our weapons are now, man. These people released a 2,000-pound bomb to kill one man, kill a whole lot of people in going after Hassan Nasrallah. And now they released last night weapons on a hospital in Lebanon, man. So the poor Holy Father is calling for total disarmament, and the Irish representative who spoke at the UN said that they are preparing a resolution for disarmament. So two things. Disarmament, I don't know all of the things. One of them is disarmament, and one of them is prohibition on lethal autonomous weapons. You know, what gets me vexed is we spend all the day with God, day on PUP, UDP, and everybody struggling just a little bit of personal power to make their families wealth, power, and influence. Man, this thing is bigger than that. This thing is bigger than that. And this Chagos Island, this just shows that. The Conservatives are upset. The Labour, they're flailing it. I am not satisfied with the 99-year thing at all. Period. They agreed, they have now signed the terms of the deal, and a treaty has to be prepared. You see? But you can't sleep at the wheel, man. You can't sleep at the wheel. And you can't. You know, many years ago, a diplomat in this country told me, he said, Sandy, anytime you want to find out anything from the Belizean authorities, just give them a little alcohol. And you'll get everything from them. Isn't that an awful statement to make about the political directorate of a nation?
And how long ago was that, Sister Sandy?
Around in the 1990s.
And damn it, that is still true.
Pardon?
And damn it, if that's still true.
Of course. This is the problem. These people kept at it. You know the fight these people have put up. The heirs. Many of them have died now because this is 60-odd years. They died from mal. These people occupied an island were satisfied totally with their simple way of living. They own many, many, many dogs, hundreds of dogs. And that day, when they moved in to take over those islands and expel them, they slaughtered all those dogs and traumatized those people. So that started the trauma. You see? So don't take it lightly. It took them 6 years. What you want to take us another 100 years to get back this land if we don't do the right thing by it? Because that is what it will be. That is, Jerusalem was part of the new colonization, man. The new colonization, they were supposed to keep quiet, nothing was supposed to be said, everything was, but it never happened like that.
Oh, Sister Sandra, we don't have a record of Belizean politicians when it comes to this conversation making sound decisions when it comes to the territory. So I'm hopeful.
Because the decisions have been made for them, and they never understood that. Except for Philip Golson, they never understood that. That the decisions are being made for them. And the decisions at that time, remember, when they believed Guatemala matter would rear its ugly head, was in the Cold War, post-Second World War era and all of that. And the present president of Guatemala, Oscar Bernardo Arevalo, it is his father who inserted beliefs into the Guatemalan constitution. The constitution of 1945. He put us into it. And don't get me wrong, I admired in my youth, and I still admire 76 years Juan Jose Arevalo. I admire Oscar Bernardo Arevalo's father. But on the matter of foreign policy, the turn he took put us in danger. So on that I can't admire him, right? I can admire all the decisions on social security, labor, all of that. But on that matter, I part ways.
I'll have to go in about 5 minutes, Sister Sandra.
Huh?
I have another 5 minutes before break. Just letting you know, you could keep sharing.
Oh no, yeah, so my heart lifted, honestly.
Yes.
You know how many prayers I have sent up to the Almighty on the Chagos Island situation. I've cried about it, supported it, came to know people, didn't in the beginning, knew about the problem, but did not know it. And then I would meet in the course of traveling people connected to the problem, and then would meet people actually in the problem. And I can tell you that it has been a fight, YaYa. Been a fight. So believe we must not give up. We must now examine what has been done to weaken our control over this matter, and by our own people. And they must be willing to admit they're wrong. We're not going to kill you. We're not going, because you are our brothers. But if you betrayed us, then we must be able to tell us, "Hi, man, look at what you did and the mess you have created." Because what you did will make it a bigger and harder fight, you understand, YaYa?
Yes.
If you betray yourself, then it makes it a harder fight. But we are part of the the second colonization. The third, because Africa was first the Americans, then the partition of Africa at the end of the 1800s, and then came the independence movement, and then came a new colonization. Palestine, the Chagos Islands, Belize, and other issues. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sister Sandra Cowie. Big news for Feel Good Friday. Give thanks for the tenacity, the prayers, people of the Chagos Island. I remember specifically the current editor of the Mandela newspaper had brought that to, I don't remember if it was my attention or the Mandela newspaper, Brother Charles X. Hyde. I know X talk about it from time to time. So big respect, believes in solidarity with them. The Chagos Islands have gotten their territories back. Even though the UK and the US want still have 99 years lease on the military base. Marin, you have to be quick. 1 minute to break. Talk to him.
Quickly, you see, always dealt with this matter, YaYa.
Okay.
He always, JC really devoted a lot of their time to the Chagos Island matter.
Thanks, Sister Sandra.
And one of your listeners can type in, I can't remember the name, but it is an Australian documenter who devoted time to documenting these people's tragedy and sorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye. I saw that documentary. I'll look for it. Tell her no for go check it out on YouTube. Right now, it's 7:30. It's time for 2 cents scam. We have a repeat or we have one new one? Alexi? New 2 cents scam brought to us by Fort Point Security, I think, Nenny. I think that's Fort Point Security. Thanks. October 4th, 2024. The phone number at 280-5848. Big thanks to Sister Sandra Coe for that feel-good news this morning about the Chagos Islands getting back their territory after fighting for it for so many years. Sister Sandra, if you could have called back, I want you to call back because I'm going to read just now from DW News, which I don't want question mark. Two things crossed my mind after I listened to what you say. One of the things is say, resettlement of the Chagos appears unlikely. Under the terms of the deal, the only habitable island remains off limits. So I don't know if the people that could actually go back and live on their territory. Secondly, will they have to, impact them people's lives, their health, the trauma? Is there any compensation for any reparations for the people of the Chagos Islands, their ancestors, unborn children? So, Sister Sandra Coe, if you could call back if you have the answer for them two questions. Morning, thanks for calling.
Yes, I was planning to call back on another matter in connection with the same thing. Yes, that is exactly why I say that while I'm happy that for me it's a first phase. For me this is not the complete restoration at all. One, so much damage has been done to those people. You see what the great powers, and not only the great powers, we do it in private life. They like to create what is called creating facts on the ground. So when you create facts on the ground, let us say you are objecting to what I am doing. I want a piece of your yard. And I tell you about it, and you don't want to have a quarrel, so you don't take my fight seriously. Well, one day I bring in builders and I build you see me building a fence, and you come and tell me, but remember, and I said, well, but this thing belongs to me, and I go ahead building the fence, and you don't do anything about it. What I have done is to seek to create a fact on the ground, you understand? I'm trying to create the reality I want down the road. And they thought that they could create a reality where the people would die off, the matter would be forgotten, because it was all done in secret, all done in secret. And that nothing would come of it. But the tenacity of those islanders is what became the big stumbling block, together with the tenacity of Mauritius, to which they belong. So tenacity, vision to see way down the road, the steps you need to take, most importantly, fraternity and solidarity. So they have now received the right of return, but whether they will return is another matter because of the circumstances of their disbursement. They are dispersed all over the place, and they are not going to make it easy for them to go back. Not Mauritius, but the people that signed that thing with. Now, what the Chagos Islanders are calling for is an apology from President Biden or from the American president and reparation. So whatever they call for, we must support. Don't you agree? We must support. We can't, the fight not stop yet, the fight isn't over yet. We've come a long way, but it's not over yet, because the tenacity of the Chagos Islanders and of their opponents is about equal. And the opponent is always trying to figure out a way they can put a fast one over you. So that is the problem there. So they are absolutely correct in that evaluation. They have won it. It's in the terms have been set up. The treaty has not yet been signed. The treaty is still to be signed. But all these matters have to be clarified. Now they're arguing. I heard a discussion with the foreign minister of Mauritius that one of the three things established here is the issue of territorial integrity and sovereignty. And I agree with him. However, it's a tempered territorial integrity, and a tempered sovereign control. Because you still got this 99-year-old access on the claim that it is absolutely essential to the security of the Indo-Pacific and the West and all of that, you see? So, to deal with that, in my opinion, we must move now to planetary and global disarmament. There's no choice now. Because at the rate they are going with their weaponry creation, you can see the immense gap between that and the bones we took up in our hands when we first began our march to humanity. You see where we are now. So for me, as I said, it is a tempered it's a win, and a win to rejoice over. But the battle isn't over yet. The war isn't over yet. The battles have now been won. For the final battles to be won, Palestine has to be freed, Belize has to be freed, all of the attempts to recolonize have to stop. Only then can the trigger. It is what Mandela said. He said, until Palestine is free, none of us is free. You see? So until the Sahara, Western Sahara is free, we are not free. Because the pattern, the model remains of how to take control. Look at what happened to Western Sahara. With Western Sahara, it is a post-colonial country that set out to take it over. Just like Guatemala, post-colonial country. Both countries are product of the latest round of colonization. One of the latest rounds of, because it's not only the Europeans, you also have the Far East there and Russia and the whole pack of them. When are we going to stop? But in the case of the European colonization expansion, we and Guatemala form part of the same process. Man, we form part of the same process. So why would you want to begin a new colonization on us? Why would you want to do that? You're going to be doing to us the same thing that they have done to you and to us. The same thing. You know, different? No different. And it's exactly what happened with Mauritius and the Chagos Islands. This is the same thing that has happened with Palestine, and the same thing that has happened with a number of situations.
Sister Sandra, would you say, because I'm just, the point you made earlier, for example, of Belize politicians for the most part, except Brother Philip Golson, Belizean politicians making, let's keep it within the foreign policy framework, based on individual gains and not the betterment of Belizeans, for we and for unborn children. And when you put for them mindset, next to the mindset, let's say, of the UK, Israel, US government, is it any different? Because they're not to think about the big picture of humanity.
But remember, they are thinking on national level frameworks. They are not seeking to, well, maybe they may be, but their primary goal is the aggrandizement, enrichment of little family clans and tribes. They are looking at tribal confederations, like the Iroquois, the Federation of the Iroquois tribes and that sort of thing.
Well, isn't that the same thing? Isn't that the same thing these politicians do in Belize? They look after families.
But we look after families. So we don't even get to the nation state yet. That's our problem. We don't even get to the nation state. So you and I have no protection because they can't see the nation state nor understand it. That is what is, that's the situation in Lebanon. In Lebanon, the collapse of the nation state in Lebanon has left the ruling elite, because remember, Lebanon and a lot of the Middle East still operates on clans that literally operates on clans and tribal structures, right? So that is what they have there. And now in the face of this invasion by Israel, there is no state to take over the defense of the Lebanese nation. No state. The only people who really are there to take over the defense of the Lebanese nation is Hezbollah. And that is why it is obligatory on Israel and America to destroy Hezbollah. Because they are the only, they stand between the total destruction of the Lebanese people and the people who are setting out to destroy them. They stand between them.
Before we go, Sister Sandra, I'm going to break in a few minutes, but because I just say the statue of George Price yesterday for the first time at Battlefield Park. And I say, anybody may come ask me if that's how we want to spend we taxpaying money. We don't have one boss here. We have one boss Brother Philip Golson. Why was that necessary?
Well, I didn't know they put up a statue of Mr. Christ in the park.
Sister Sandra, the biggest statue I ever said that Belize. The biggest. Like it hold, the statue that it hold, that it, of the entire, like a human being, but extra tall, extra big, huge. And I'm like, how much this cost? So I feel that it's unfair if we tell the story, because you know they stick to that singular narrative about Father the Nation, but you don't hear the stories about Maya, indigenous people, African people. You don't say no, well the Maya people, they have their Maya temples. But as it relates to African descendants, you don't see no huge monument, which I want to push for. But I'm like, you see, you have to be careful who tell a story, because that the biggest I have ever, Sister Sandra, that like, I'd say it could be, and I'm not exaggerate, the height of the statue, Sister Sandra, could be like the height of Brody's building.
What?
Yes.
Oh my Lord. Well, you see, when you want to understand what is happening in your corner, step back and look at other corners, distant corners, and then you can begin to understand. And sounds to me that it would do Belize well to take a little look at Russia under Stalin and all the monuments that were created to him and all over that, all of that sort of thing, you know. Man, those are things of the past. You don't have money to spend on that. And when a hurricane comes, we having climate change is going to bring all of that down. You don't even know if you even have park left on the coastline left. So those things become vanities, empty vanities, that this age, YaYa, if we join in this call for planetary disarmament, imagine the amount of resources and money that can be put to human development.
Sister Sandra, wait, I have to go to a break, but if you got credit, I want to call back to expand more on what planetary disarmament mean. So if you go call back after the break, please.
Okay.
Thanks, sis. Huh? Oh, oh my, Sister Sandra, then just call back, Sister Sandra. I think that 10 to 8 that a break time. But instead of 8 o'clock that a break time, because I try to keep, so I got another 10 minutes, Sister Sandra. If you go call back, you're going to ask me, I think I'm going to ask me how long the break. But when I hear a knock on the window, I think that they tell me break. But then if you tell me I had 10 more minutes. So if you go call back, Belizeans, those at home streaming, on a tune in, because it's a big life lesson right now for Sister Sandra Cowie. As always, when you call in, the conversation started off this morning about the victory of the Chagos Islanders. Ina going to the ICJ, Belize have been one of the countries was supported that this for their territory, the UK and the US chase the people off on the island, disconnect them from their culture, their burying ground, the ways of living, the natural ways of living. And after like almost 60 years, I make 60 years next year, 2025, one ruling came out yesterday that the UK had no right for take over the administration of the Chagos Islands. And so, but they want to keep the UK-US military base at Diego Garcia for 99 years. Now, where I asked Sister Sandra and call back and answer and said that indeed there should be reparations for these people. And even though we're happy that the people they have the right to go back to the space, most of the islands they're not habitable. You can't live there. So that big news. If anybody want to call in, I would hope Sister Sandra could call back 280-5848, 280-5848 for either call. Feel Good Friday. Wherever. Morning, thanks for call back.
I'm back.
Thanks, Sister Sandra.
I'm tired.
Tell me.
Okay. Years ago, as I said, there's a book on evolution, and that book begins not in Asia, in a garden, but in an African savanna with a weapon in his hand. Man came about slowly, ever so slowly. We are the tool using animals. There are other animals that have incipient tool usage, but we are the animals that made tool using define us. So tools, the use of tools, we don't have claws. Our nails can go long, but they are not claws. We don't have fangs. Our teeth don't go like fangs as we have evolved, because maybe in the early evolution, we may have had bigger teeth and stronger claws and stuff, nails. But definitely the human of the 21st century has not physically got any biological feature to match. A human going to match a lion? You know, we don't have that. So our strength has been in tools. And to learn to use tools, you really can only learn that proper use in a social structure, in a community. And we are, along with tools, the symbol using animals. We live by culture. And those tools are symbols. Think of a fork. When you look at a fork and you see the prongs of the fork and so, don't those resemble really claws?
Yes.
And look at how the fork is curved. When an animal, you look at the claws of the big cat or a cat or a dog, it's curved, right?
Yes.
To grab on, to hold on. So humans have, in our long evolution, studied everything in nature and figured out they could copy some of it or all of it or much of it or some of it, whatever. We have copied and turned those into tools and structures for us to survive. And while we started out with bones in our hands, femurs, the long bones between the knee and the ankle and stuff like that as our early weapons, as we have evolved through the Stone Age, the Metal Age, those would turn into knives and swords and daggers and hatchet and axe and all manner of things. As we needed those things both for weapons and for tools to use in our daily lives, to chop up the meat, to bring down the tree, to make the house and so on. And our weaponry evolved along with that, bows and arrows, all of those things. The Chinese are the ones who discovered gunpowder, and the West would take over that invention. Now look at where we are in 2025. We have reached a point now of a kind of weapon called a lethal autonomous weapon. It is a weapon that supposedly will be able on its own to decide who to kill and who not to kill, and all manner of nonsense. I mean, it isn't nonsense, it's frightening nonsense of that nature. Right there in the Palestine last week you all had the commissioner in studio, the commissioner of police, and I called in to ask him if he doesn't see a similarity between the West Bank on the chopping up of the West Bank into smaller and smaller units, where each unit is controlled by a checkpoint. And the purpose of that is to keep the Palestinians divided so that they don't unite in solidarity and fraternity and come together as humans always do in order to overcome a powerful enemy. And he said no, he didn't see it. And the explanation he gave was that Belize has opposed Israel's position, and we've done this publicly and all of that. Well, there was no time for me to call in. The show was coming to an end, and I plan to call in next week to deal with that matter. But I'll quickly say this. I would advise your listeners and the commissioner to study the Western Sahara situation. The very Morocco, which is a member of the wider Muslim Arab fraternity, is doing to its own members of that fraternity what Israel is doing to members of that fraternity, the Arab, Islamic, Christian Orthodox in Palestine. It's no different. And to tell me that because the Belize government has spoken out against it, they evidently don't support. I assume, because I didn't hear him say implicit. Maybe he said explicit, but I didn't hear it explicitly state. But then see, this is evidence that they are not for this kind of behavior and government.
Sister Sandra.
But you see it on the ground in Belize.
Sister Sandra, truthfully, Sister Sandra, I don't think those in political leadership, and I will even go so far and say the Commissioner of Police and the wider Belizean community, not know the geopolitical history of the world, much less this particular one will have one direct connection to we liberty. And instead of we say, you know what, sister, I don't know enough about what you say, but I'm open for listen to you, so I could learn and say how I could make the correlation, or if I would. No, the always the impression that I know what you talk about already. And so,
exactly.
When somebody not humble enough to say, I don't know, I don't know enough, and you're not in a position of power and influence, it's dangerous. So I know one was saying, I think this morning that I was Sister Sandra Coe, well, that she called first. I have forgot a break, but if you could call back Sister Sandra, we need this lesson, the point for you to make right now, because I know I don't know enough about it. What happened with Morocco and what happened, is it the Sahel you're referring to?
It's the Western Sahara.
Western Sahara.
Western Sahara is north of the Sahel.
I need you to forgive me.
The Sahara is a big desert area, right?
Right.
And that desert area was once not a desert area. Once that was watered land.
Yes.
And now the only thing that's left is a band along the south coast called the Sahel. The Sahel means shore. So that includes Burkina Faso, Mali,
Niger.
all those countries form part of the Sahel. Anyway, bye-bye.
All right, thanks. All right, it's break time now. I hope I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this as much as I enjoy it, but I sure enjoy it because I like learn and I have everything to do it for we liberty. Break time, stay tuned. to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes this morning, Friday, October 4th, 2024. Sister Sandra Coe has, as always, just a powerful and dynamic educator. You could call back Sister Sandra. Whoever want to call in, the number is 280-5848. Somebody tell me they could hardly see my eyes because me throw me in on my face, so I hope you could see my eyes now. One of the things where, besides reading, I love documentaries, I love movies. I encourage Belizeans based on what Sister Sandra Curry has been sharing this morning. And I encourage you now for go and look on YouTube. They have one documentary named Stealing a Nation, the plight of the Chagos Islands versus the United States 2004. Morning.
Just a minute. Yeah, that's one of the documentaries. I think that's the one done by the Australian.
Yeah.
Excellently done. Excellently done. Let me come back quickly.
Yes.
I'm trying to show that we are at a point in history where collectively and individually, as part of that collective, we need to make epic decisions now. It can't be the same old, half and half. It's just not going to work. In the Palestine, as I said to Mr. Williams, they pick up Palestinian males and females under the term administrative detention. In Belize, we call it preventive detention, right?
Yes, yes.
So I brought that up as two comparative, as a comparative hallmark. In Belize, we are calling it preventive detention. There, they are calling it. Now, I started out by asking him, these people who are being detained, to what do they belong to a specific ethnic group, or is it dispersed? He said no. They are African, people of African descent. So I said, so there are no Maronites, no Chinese, no. He said, none of those. I said, well, shouldn't we be questioning ourselves? How come the only people who need to be preventatively detained are these people of African descent? Now in the Palestine, who are being picked up? The Palestinians. Well, they pick up Christian Palestinians and the Muslim Palestinians and Greek Orthodox Palestinians, but they're only Palestinians. Nobody else is detained on administrative detention other than Palestinians.
So, Sister Sandra, that's already 2 points that you see the similarity with the preventative detention, with the administrative detention, and the preventative detention. Only Palestinians, only African descendants.
Exactly. So I pointed out that chopping up the West Bank and East Jerusalem has created a situation where the Palestinians cannot communicate as a community, get together, not even for ordinary social events. They can't get together, YaYa, because they understand the importance of community coming together in human resistance. So they know that. This is not a new theory, they understand that. So they have to prevent it. And I pointed out that let us go back beyond Palestine to the structure of slavery. In the plantation economy. In the plantation economy, each plantation was an enclave. The slaves on one plantation were not allowed to socialize and communitize, that's my word, with each other across plantation unless the plantation owner ordered it. So the same concept of creating enclaves, sectioning off people, where they have no communication across lines with other people of their community in order to control them. Isn't that the same thing that they've done in the Palestine? And isn't that the same thing that exists in Belize City? Isn't it the same?
Yes, but I guess the police department would say, we don't want them people link up as what identifying it as affiliation to street life.
And I pointed out that the same thing was done in South Africa under apartheid. And the name given in South Africa was Bantustans. And the Israeli government is now accused, stands accused by the ICJ of practicing apartheid and all its accompanying features right there in the Palestine, among other things, because they are being charged with genocide and all of ethnic cleansing. But this problem of creating pockets of people, so, and I told the commissioner that given the chaos in the Middle East, we in our societies right across the Atlantic here in the Caribbean need to examine our societies to see if we have anything that faintly resembles over there and straighten out our societies so that when the Third World War, because it's already being fought, don't fool yourself. Pope Francis has said it's a piecemeal Third War being fought now. But one day it will consolidate into one massive war effort. Before that happens, we need to get ourselves together and build communities of love and sustenance in order to survive the catastrophe and the cataclysmic situation that will cross the Atlantic.
Sister Sandra, let me ask you, when you expanded the conversation like you just did, was he open to receiving what you were sharing?
I said what I had to say and I got off the air. And then he answered that no, he didn't agree because Belize has supported has opposed the Israel's actions in the Palestinian occupied lands, which are Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem, has opposed it, and we have sent protests here and protests there. I didn't call back because there wasn't time to do that, and I didn't have time to call back because I planned to make my response to him during the week because Moses is the one who was there. That answer, I didn't hear you explicitly stated, but I am assuming you stated that in order to say our Belize politicians are good people. They would never do something like that. See how they are opposing Israel. But the situation in Morocco belies that confidence in human goodness.
Can you expand some more? And I'm hoping if the compol isn't listening to this conversation this morning, that somebody would listen, pull a shirt and tell her, take a deep breath, listen to the conversation. Listen.
I don't want to make this, I never call back, I'm only using that to explain the situation.
Fair enough.
Armament.
Fair enough. So, yeah, you're looking at this armament.
So now, we have a situation right there in the Palestine. Some time ago, one day, I don't remember what I was listening to, and I heard Hebron is a smart city. Hebron? Why would Hebron be a smart city? Where AI is being widely used, surveillance, and all of that. Well, all of that is part moving towards, in my opinion, a situation where there will eventually be a number of robots placed with a gun in their hand, and the robot will be programmed to kill. So it will be told, let us say an algorithm will be created that says all the people who are 5 feet, have gray hair, have flat in their head, that's me I'm talking about, and take them out. I'm not saying that's what it will, but just an example of the danger of reaching a point where humans give up intervention in the decision to kill using a weapon. That is the danger we're heading to.
Sister Sandra, I have to give you credit for making these connections because that is so important. you would hear people say, I want more cameras because of crime, but they're not understanding geopolitically what that means.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, let me go back to the UN. After UN last week, Saturday, after Mr. Fonseca spoke, 4 pairs of countries stood up to give rebuttals. And I argue police should have been there in that rebuttal process. If we didn't want to do it in our speech, then in the rebuttal process, it should have rejected Guatemala's claim that they have become the keepers of peace in Latin America and in Central America and the Caribbean, because their actions in the SARS storm belie that. State actions in the SARS storm belie that, and citizenry action on the western border belie that.
Right.
Okay. But so now, one of those pairs was Armenia and Azerbaijan. So now, earlier today, I had heard Azerbaijan, and I had heard Kazakhstan, and they were discussing the glacier problem and all of that. So my mind was very much taken up with the climate situation, not remembering the military escapade recent occurrence between Armenia and Azerbaijan. When they went back to the discussion on Saturday, it suddenly hit me and said, wait a minute. You all are the ones who began the experiment with lethal autonomous weaponry warfare. Technically, it happened there in the Nagorno-Karabakh.
How long ago was that, Sister Sandra? How long ago was that?
Just recently, between 2020 and now. Yes. And the pandemic was raging, so nobody was paying attention to that. Everybody tried to survive the virus, you understand? And what was used in Nagorno-Karabakh were what are called loitering munitions. Loitering munitions are a form or a type of lethal autonomous weaponry. It is this thing that's it's built like the body of an airplane, and then at a point in time, it can release wings and just hover. Hover until the target, it is programmed to kill appears. And then it kills it. And you don't kill it by dropping, you don't drop a bomb. It goes after it. Itself becomes the weapon. Itself becomes the weapon. So now, that is what the Pope is arguing, and that's what the Secretary General of the United Nations is arguing. We cannot go to this place. We cannot go to a place where I send a weapon in and the weapon now decides it's going to explode at 19 hours Greenwich Mean Time when it meets a building that looks like the building where housing YaYa whom they need to kill. You understand? That is what is happening in Lebanon.
Oh, Sister Sandra,
what happened.
There's a possibility also, I'm asking, is there a possibility that these lethal autonomous weapons could make a mistake? And then there are casualties. Yes, there's big casualties, real people.
Exactly. How are we going to get to a point where to kill one man, you're allowed to bring down 6 buildings, kill 10,000? Man, that can't work. No way that can work, YaYa. And I am saying, Belize should lead the call in the Caribbean for total planetary disarmament. Let we put down the weapons once and for all, because humanity has reached a point of almost no return, man. No return. We can't go there. We cannot go there. Let us take, for example, right there in the Lebanon. They released a 2,000-pound bomb into a building. It went, this bomb died through the building, died down the ground of the building. Oh my Lord. But you see, because we live in a very detached from all of that, we only worry about PUP or UDP or whether I could die from Bermuda. Our work, we cannot be living at this small level mindset, because that come here. You understand?
Well, it's already here when you explain the preventative detention, the disconnection between communities. To some levels, it's already here, whether we recognize it or not.
Exactly so. Whether we recognize it or not, it is already here. They cannot. You see, they had to destroy black community life in order to prevent another uprising against the Guatemala matter. That had to be dismantled. The dismantling began with migration, but it didn't complete the job. The dismantling, remember, in 1980 and the revolt of the Public Service Union against the Heads of Agreement sealed the fate of the agreement.
Sister Sandra, I just saw this statistics in this one of the book that I bring from London, which was frightening to me. In 1980, Belize district alone had 71.1% Creole people.
Exactly so. Exactly so. So it had to be destroyed. You see, I am not saying these things to create any panic. But when you want to fight a thing, you must be prepared to look at it in its totality, no matter how horrible, how frightening, however it is. If you are going to fight it and win, you must be prepared to see it for what it really is. When the man that you love in your life, you have to confront, this man is really an abuser. He really doesn't love me nor my children. And this has to end. That is a hard step to make. When your father rapes you or your mother commits sexual abuse on you, you must be prepared to confront it for what it really is, as terrible as it is. You cannot confront it by praying it away, lighting candles, hoping it away, because it ain't going away that way. It's not going to go away that way. You will have to take it on head on. And I don't know about you yet. I don't know about anybody yet. But this year, there's nowhere I'm going to the UN for 40 years to beg to end the embargo against Cuba. Man, do nothing about it. All the plans for this are going to beg for the next 40 years. But I could promise you, that's exactly what you're going to do. Until we make up our mind, the embargo ends today, and this is the way we end up for bringing it to an end. That's the only way it ends. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When you're dealing with these situations of macro power structures against you, a little minority power, you have to make up your mind whether to get your freedom you're going to die or you're going to live. One of them. Once you make up your mind, you become the stronger of the two components, Look at yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? I haven't been listening to the news much in the days. I am bored, I'm fed up with it. But I caught a tail end of the union, and apparently some teachers have been paid for 6 months or
5 months. 5 months, sis.
5 months. Now, please tell me. Please tell me. What's wrong with the teacher mind, man? You sat down and kept quiet for 5 months? Who convinced you to do that? Who convinced you to keep it quiet? No rational human being going on board for all their friends, have their spouse, use up all their money. It doesn't make no sense, man.
And Sister Sandra, these are the people responsible for teaching our children, and that's their mindset.
So now, how in God's name your children and our children going to learn courage? Oh! what you think about that. Another thing, why you have agreed to buy decoration material for classroom? Why you agree to that? To start with the classrooms, I have visited over there. Oh, yeah, I get claustrophobia. Every space on the wall or something feels like crazy house. A lot of dust is being collected in that. You don't need that. I am a brilliant teacher and I have never had a classroom full up with. I don't I ever done no more I ever teaching. No. I bring my teaching equipment, my material, my demonstration material. When I finish, I roll it up and I go away with that. And by the way, I attended a school where when we were children, we had to clean the classroom at the end of the year, but you never had no more pack up with no other decoration. That's the first revolution and I have to fight. No more buying all of the same material for people who want to decorate no classroom. It's not the children not learning anything from it, yeah?
I agree. I have to go to break, Sister Sandra.
Everyone have one. Pig, chicken, dog. And, you know, I have been in I'm not talking now from non-experience, I have been in these classrooms. And honestly, I was an asthmatic, and every time I have been around there, I always feel sick, God, don't make the asthma come back, because I feel like the asthma will come back. Mm-hmm. You understand? Mm-hmm. So starting a revolution. Anyway, I know call back after this year, because I have to go get
time. Big thanks. Big thanks, sis.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Break time. Welcome back to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes for this morning, Friday, October 4th, 2024. Big thanks to Sister Sandra Coe for the dynamic, relatable reasoning session looking at the responsibilities of political leadership when it comes to foreign policy in particular, and why we as Belizean people have a responsibility to learn. It really makes one difference because decisions that are being made at home and abroad impact we everyday reality, whether we agree with it, whether we accept it, whether we like it or not. So I really, and of course for a morning like this morning, I appreciate phone calls and one Sister Sandra, I don't want to talk. So when you have somebody like Sister Sandra Coe, you could call in and not all the time she get the opportunity to have that amount of airspace, but it was so absolutely important. The one lifesaver for me. So again, thanks Sister Sandra Coe. Big thanks. If anybody made a try calling and couldn't get through, time check that 8:38, going to break at 8:50, right? Alexei? I think it's at 8:50. 8:45. So in about 6 minutes here and be break time. 2805848. I want to come back here and be one short break and then we have to lock up because you know the saying wrong here. 9 to 9. I'd encourage Belizeans for the go to YouTube and look on this documentary. That one of the documentaries Sister Sandra Coe recommended, and I would suggest that people go and look on it. So it's called Stealing a Nation, the Plight of the Chagos Islands versus the United States, and this is from 2004. And so I would recommend, make I just, and I know some people don't like reading per air, but I actually love it. It says Stealing a Nation is a 2004 Granada television documentary about the British-American clandestine operation that saw the expulsion of the native Chagosian population of Diego Garcia and neighboring islands. More than 2,000 people were exiled to Mauritius between 1967 and 1973 so that Diego Garcia could become a United States Air Base, seed the population of Chagosians from the Chagos archipelago. Good morning, thanks for calling. Talk to me.
Hi, good morning, YaYa.
Morning, tell me.
Listening to the talk show this morning and being encouraged by Miss Coe. Giving my lot of courage. My name is Francisco Escobar. And I am the one that's trying to develop a third party called General Opportunity Development Party.
Okay, one second, Francisco. If this one be one political ad, I can't allow the airspace, but you could have one general conversation as a Belizean.
No, this is just to give courage to Belizean, as Sister Coe was saying, you know, what will come in the future. You want true good leadership, that's what you'll get. I am an ex-military. I know about my constitution. I know the borders. I have the grace of God that show me the location of where the oil is. As a matter of fact, Mr. Gilbert Usher was here asking me where the oil is. You know, and
okay, we ask you for not call people name if possible, but
okay, yes.
Okay, so what I'm getting from you is after listening to Sister Sandra Coe this morning, as a Belizean who want to see meaningful change in the country, you offer yourself for political life. That's what it call about.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I am not what you call it, elected leader or no, but I give an economic plan which the present PUP is using. So if my plan is good and my plan comes from God, only by dreams, the dreams I had is what I write. And I have like 5,000 followers on Facebook. I'm not nobody really important, but a lot of people believe in the faith, you know, and the power of God, and the vision, the economic vision that God has for Belize.
Okay, brother. Well, thanks very much for the call.
Yes.
All right, then.
And
Take care.
I'm just to tell Belizeans that they don't have faith. Return to God. That's all. Have faith, and you can't, if you want to move in 43 years, nowhere, if God will make the 43 years in a glory.
Okay, make us see how open-minded you are as somebody who want to offer yourself in a political life. This was say a lot about what kind of leader you could possibly be. You do understand that human beings have one choice if they want to accept one faith-based process or not. So, one number of Belizeans identify as Christians. A number do not, but that's a human right. So when you talk about have faith, there was a certain amount of people you talk to, and you know to talk to some more. So I just want to make sure when you want to represent Belizean people, I don't think you want to represent the majority of Belizean people, regardless of if they choose to accept one faith-based, organized religion or not.
No, I just, like when it rains, everybody get wet. But the same thing when God grace comes for everybody.
Okay, but that's based on your interpretation of God.
Yes.
All right, no problem. Long as you got it clear. All right, no problem. Thanks for the call.
All right.
Take care.
Have a nice day.
You too, brother. Guidance.
Okay, bye.
Okay, so give thanks to the brother for having an open mind. And then make I finish this thing where I tell you about the documentary where I encourage Belizeans to go watch. It says the film contains a series of interviews with native Chagosians who have been deprived of their right of return and forced to live in abject poverty. Stealing a Nation was written and directed by John Pilger and produced and directed by Christopher Martin. Reconstruction footage was directed by Sean Corte. Last call. Caller, thanks for calling. You have to make it quick. We got 2 minutes.
Morning, sister.
Morning.
I know that I feel good Friday.
Hey.
I want to make myself feel good, but I don't think like for the past 3 years, we pay income tax, right? And the company where I work for, like Thunderbird Marin, they go on a hard line limited, but we never receive back any of we income tax every year, and I tell we that everything's set. I just have to wait for money, and this is like the third year, like probably more than about $3,000 at work. It's frustrating because every time I get paid, you feel like a junk rate does to watch as a pay drop to just take out your money, you know. So I just hope that maybe somebody would have listening or could maybe look after it for it.
Brother,
look into it.
Brother, I want to give you my number. I'm busy today, but we'll try early next week. My number is 671-8050. Text me on WhatsApp and tell me what the situation. I left for a voice note, and then I'll just make a call and say.
What is the number again?
671-8050. I just want to make one, based on what you tell me in your voice note, I want to make a call to the company and I want to hear what they answer, because there's more than one side to every story.
All right, well,
all right, brother.
All right, thank you.
Feel good for the rest of the Friday.
I'll try my best.
One love, brother. Guidance.
Thank you.
Feel good Friday. I like it. Try feel good here. If I can't feel good, no make nobody else feel bad. So yeah, recommendation for Look Panda YouTube video, Stealing a Nation, the plight of the Chagos Islands versus the United States. And then get to our Mandela newspaper. Today is Friday, $1.50. We have to go to our break. When we come back, I don't know if we got time for one more phone call. We're going to see.
It's an massive
welcome back to the final segment of Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. So this morning, Friday, October 4th, 2024, we get to that point when it's 8 minutes to 9 and 9 to 9. We have to close down the shop. Earlier in the show, I'm going to tell you now about some books where books are my besties. What I'd recommend on a get if you could. For them people who like read electronic books, I don't know if they're available electronically. But so the first one is the Maya of Belize, historical chapters since Columbus, J. Eric S. Thompson. And what an additional reading though, they offer one deeper and different perspective from the singular narrative we often get in these church-state schools. So strongly recommend that book. The second one is The Nation We Are Making Belize, a junior history of Belize. And again, that from out of that one day, a quote what I tell Sister Sandra Cowie, in 1980, in a Belize district alone, the population of African descendants racialized as black people who identify as Creole was 75.1. Now 40-something years later, I think in the whole country, the Creoles are identified like 20-something%. Now in a Belize district alone, it was 75.1% in 1980. And then the sacred book on love by our beloved ancestress, Bell Hooks. It's called All About Love, New Visions by Bell Hooks. So I recommend, if you could get them books, please do. One of the things I mentioned is that when I'm in London, UEF is strengthening our relationship with New Beacon Books, specialized publishing house bookstore from 1969. And would explore ways to connect with communities as it relates to reading and getting knowledge about things where the community interested in. And so that are one of the things that look fun. There are a number of initiatives UEF, the look pan for the upcoming calendar year 2025. We have to shut up the shop in about 6 minutes. So on another norm, we usually thank the people we call in, we text, and people text this morning. I appreciate the love. People will listen to the rebroadcast, which will be at 3:30 today on XTV. People will share the links on the live stream from XTV Facebook page, XTV Belize YouTube page. We really, really appreciate and value have the conversations, book me out a road. Yesterday, I did some community work and I had to catch a taxi. As I get in that taxi, the brother said, I'm going to listen to you early this morning. I don't know, just love my people. And then, remember that Feel Good Friday. So if you can't do nothing for feel good, please don't do nothing for make somebody else feel bad. I have to thank the people in behind the scenes, because when I might say for we face consistently, but we couldn't do this without the people in behind the scenes, and I do it at great sacrifice. Hey Harlan, at great sacrifice. So the security guards who were on duty this morning, when I come in, we had our brother Solomon Harvester, and then later head of security Shane Flowers, still at the security booth. We have as the master chief operator JD Belile. Alexis Belile. Last Alexis, I call her JD name. Alexis Belile, and then as the senior technical person on staff, we have Harlan Wagner, and then downstairs at Creme Radio, the one and only Tony G. Usually it's Larry G, but on a number of Fridays, it would be Tony G. So because and this happened before, because I so focused on 9 to 9, I done do all that. And at 5 minutes to 9, 4 minutes to 9, so I still have one additional 4 minutes. Again, encourage Belizeans. We can't give what we not live. So encourage Belizeans to be honest with themselves. Look upon your life, and as far back as you could remember, and look at things that you really liked about yourself, encounters you had with other people, and be honest about ways we need for grow, trauma we need for heal, so you could be a better human being. Because if most of we, especially the adults, and we're responsible for raising children, the more we heal for we trauma, for we pain, for we hurts, the better we are as human beings to rear or raise children, whether or not we children biologically or not. The more clear we would be in our reasoning, in our mindset, in coming up with solutions, and understanding what we ought to eat as natural as possible, live in harmony with Mama Earth. And it's from that kind of pool of people with kindness, love, caring, forgiving, open-mindedness, that we as people like Sister Sandra Coleman say that what she was really describing was the divide and conquer. And once you're scattered, then it's more difficult for come together as one group of people who really look after one another interest, not for personal individual gain, but for have healthier, happier communities, which will only make one better Belize. No, so this can't happen without serious risk, serious sacrifices, serious consequences. We genuinely cannot expect to have one better Belize doing the same thing we've been doing for 40 plus years and not willing to make sacrifices. Because we've been to suffer. We to suffer from, if you look back from Sister Sandra Coleman to share some timeline with the Chagos Islands and the continuous colonization of people's territories and minds, not like it stopped. So it's important to going back to our natural selves, and a part of African reparations as aware African descendants, not the CARICOM 10-point plan, which is not a reparation plan. That's a development economic plan. It's not an African reparation plan. So even though you may see people who look like African descendants, that doesn't mean they have your best interests at heart. And so a part of African reparations is going back to our authentic, the ones that would work, African ways of thinking, our spirituality, how you live with families, how you lead, how you live in harmony with Mama Earth. Most of what we live and do, the one European, for the most part, what they call the Anglophile Caribbean, for example, from a European perspective, and I appreciate Sister Sandra Coleman making the point. I tend to focus a lot on European enslavers and colonizers, and so then the Arabs get one blind, and they enslaved African people prior to the European enslavement of African people. So make a hold the Arabs accountable as well. Oftentimes I would hold Christianity and a whole Islam, organized religion and a whole is not of indigenous people of color. Anyways, the time to shut the shop now. Remember, I Feel Good Friday. And also remember, only the people want to save the people. I'm done.
Wake up, Belize. 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 Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice your opinion and place your calling. Double your bed. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show my people. Belize our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation.